You know that feeling when you realize someone's been lying to you? Now, take that lie and stretch it out 10 months. Fake ultrasounds, a gender reveal party, a baby shower. And imagine what happens when that person decides the only way to keep the lie going is to take someone else's baby. Literally. This is the story of Taylor Parker, and it's one of the most calculated, disturbing crimes I've ever covered. October 9th, 2020, a state trooper in Texas pulls a car over for erratic driving. The woman behind the wheel is covered in blood. She's got a newborn baby with her, umbilical cord still attached. She tells the trooper she just gave birth on the side of the road. None of that is true. The baby isn't hers, and the woman whose body that came from is lying dead in her home, beaten and slashed over 100 times. The dead woman's 3-year-old daughter is somewhere in that house as well, thankfully still alive. This is the Taylor Parker case. This was a performance that had been running for 10 months. When the curtain came down, it came down in the most brutal way possible. Taylor Parker was 29 years old. She had a boyfriend. She wanted to keep that boyfriend. Somewhere along the way, she decided that the only way to make that happen was to convince him that she was pregnant with his child. So she started the show. We're talking about a full production here. She gained weight. She wore a fake belly she ordered from a website called fakebaby.com, which is surprisingly a real thing. She posted pregnancy photos on social media. She threw a gender reveal party. People showed up with gifts. They ate cake. They celebrated a baby that did not exist. Parker had been researching this intensively. How to make it look real. What a pregnant belly looks like at certain stages. How to fake ultrasound images. She studied it like it was a college course. Then comes October 9th, the day everything had to become real. You can fake a pregnancy for months, but eventually people are going to be like, hey, let me see that baby. Reagan Simmons-Hancock was 21 years old. She was 35 weeks pregnant. Here's the connection that makes this whole thing even more twisted. She knew Taylor Parker. They were friends. Well, sort of friends. Parker had been Reagan's wedding photographer. She'd been at one of the most important days of Reagan's life, camera in hand, smiling, taking pictures. That relationship gave Parker something crucial: access, trust. Reagan had no reason to be afraid when Parker showed up at her house that morning. The medical examiner would later testify about what happened next. Reagan was beaten in the head multiple times with what investigators believe was a hammer. The blows fractured her skull in 5 different places. She was stabbed and slashed over 100 times. Then Parker cut Reagan's baby from her body. Reagan's 3-year-old daughter was in the home as well. She was unharmed. Parker took the baby, got in the car, and drove. A state trooper spotted her near DeKalb, Texas. She was speeding and driving erratically. When he pulled her over, she had a newborn infant in her lap trying to perform CPR, and the umbilical cord appeared to be coming from her pants. The baby, a little girl named Braxlynn Sage Hancock, was rushed to McCurtain Memorial Hospital in Idabel, Oklahoma. She did not survive. Here's where the legal side of this gets really interesting. Was that baby alive when Parker cut it from Reagan's body? That question, that specific medical and legal determination, would decide whether Taylor Parker would be charged with capital murder or just murder. The difference between those two charges is life in prison versus death row. Parker's defense team went hard on this point. They argued the baby was never born alive. Their exact words were, "You can't kidnap a person who has not been born alive." If they could get the kidnapping charge dismissed, the capital murder charge would fall apart. The prosecution brought in medical experts. Multiple doctors testified that when that baby was removed from Reagan's body, she had a heartbeat. That heartbeat, that tiny flutter of life, made this capital murder. That's what put the death penalty on the table. Here's arguably the most disturbing piece of evidence in the entire case. Investigators looked at Parker's search history, her browser history, what she'd been watching online. On the morning of October 9th, just hours before she went to Reagan's house, Parker had watched a video, a medical video about how to perform a physical exam on a premature infant delivered at 35 weeks. Let's sit with that for a second. She was researching how to make sure the baby looked legitimate. She was planning ahead for the moment when someone might ask questions. This was clinical. This was methodical. Her search history tells the whole story. In early October, 8 days before the murder, Parker looked up teen pregnancy support groups in Texarkana and actually went to one of those meetings. Investigators believe she was trying to get close to other pregnant women, possibly even posing as a midwife. She searched for information on how to do a C-section, how to deliver and inspect a placenta, how to get an out-of-hospital birth certificate. 2 days before the murder, she searched Reagan's address and the location of Reagan's OBGYN office. The jury heard all of this. They heard about the fake pregnancy. They heard about the research. They heard the medical testimony about the heartbeat. They heard Reagan's mother, Jessica Brooks, give a victim impact statement. She looked at Parker and said, quote, "My baby was alive, still fighting for her babies when you tore her open and ripped her baby from her stomach." It took the jury just over an hour to sentence Taylor Parker to death. There's one more twist that tells you everything you need to know about who Taylor Parker really is. After she was convicted, while she was sitting in the Bowie County Jail, she didn't stop. She fabricated 2 confession letters. She was trying to frame another inmate for Reagan's murder. Even after being found guilty, even facing execution, she was still running cons, still manipulating. The judge, John Tidwell, said 5 words when the sentencing was done. Take her to death row. Reagan's mother called Parker an evil piece of flesh demon. So let's talk about what this crime actually is. Fetal abduction is incredibly rare. We're talking about maybe 36 cases worldwide as of 2022, the last statistic I can find on this. The first one in the US was in 1974. There's a pattern to these crimes. The perpetrator is almost always a woman. She's usually older than her victim. The motivation is almost always the same thing. She's faked a pregnancy to keep a romantic partner, and she's running out of time. The lie is about to collapse, so she finds someone who's actually pregnant, someone she can access, someone who trusts her, and she takes what she needs to keep the lie going. Experts who study this type of crime describe the perpetrators as extreme con artists. They're not psychotic. They know exactly what they're doing. They're driven by narcissism and grandiose delusions. They create an alternate reality and then do whatever it takes to maintain it, even if that means murder. Social media has made this type of crime easier in some ways. It's easier to track potential victims. It's easier to find out exactly how far along someone is in their pregnancy. It's easier to build that trust relationship online before moving it into the real world. Taylor Parker used that pre-existing connection with Reagan, the wedding photography, the social relationship. That gave her the proximity she needed. Reagan had no reason to suspect that her photographer friend was planning something like this. The defense tried to argue that Parker's friends and family should have done something, that they saw the wheels coming off with the fake pregnancy and they should have intervened. They tried to shift some of the blame onto the people around Parker for not confronting her. That's not how this works. Parker is the one who built this elaborate lie. She's the one who maintained it for 10 months. She's the one who did the research, the one who made the decision that Reagan Simmons-Hancock's life was worth less than the preservation of her fake reality. That's on her, completely and entirely on her. I think what makes this case so disturbing is the length of the deception, the performance of it all. Parker threw a gender reveal party. She invited people. She accepted their congratulations. She posted photos online. She lived this alternate reality she'd created, and she expected everyone else to live in it too. When reality finally caught up, when the performance couldn't continue, she didn't confess. She didn't come clean. She decided to double down in the most violent way possible. Reagan was 21 years old. She had a 3-year-old daughter. She was excited about her new baby. She trusted someone she thought was a friend, and that trust cost her everything. Taylor Parker is on death row in Texas right now. The legal appeals will probably go on for years. That's just how these cases work. The jury's message was clear. What she did was calculated, it was cruel, and it deserved the ultimate punishment. I think about all the people who attended that gender reveal party, who brought gifts, who believed in Parker's pregnancy. I think about Reagan's husband coming home. I think about that 3-year-old girl who was in the house and what kind of therapy and support she's going to need for the rest of her life. Taylor Parker could have stopped at any point. She could have admitted the lie, dealt with the embarrassment, faced the consequences. Instead, she researched how to cut a baby from someone's body, and then she did it. That's the Taylor Parker case, a 10-month lie that ended in murder, a fake pregnancy that required a real baby, and a death row sentence that Reagan's family probably doesn't feel like is enough justice for what was taken from them. Thanks for listening to 10-Minute Murder, bingeable true crime stories. I'm Joe, I'm the host, and I've got a couple of emails to get to. First one, subject, not a question, just a thank you. Joe, I walk every night after dinner, and your show makes the walk feel quicker. Helps me unwind, helps me not think about work. Wanted you to know you're doing good stuff over there. Hector in Pueblo, Colorado. Hector, seriously appreciate the email. It's always nice to get kind words. And Pueblo, Colorado, I've been there one time. Absolutely gorgeous. It looks like a postcard there. And I'm low-key jealous. All right, next email. Subject, all you can die for buffet. Hi, Joe. It's Mike again from Canada. The guy who makes sure to like every single episode, even if it doesn't count. I've got a different kind of question for you this time. I'm putting you on the other side for a change. I know you don't believe in the death penalty, but let's just say, strictly as a dark humor hypothetical, you are the murderer, and you have to choose your own capital punishment method from the classic menu: lethal injection, electrocution, gas chamber, hanging, firing squad, beheading, stoning, nitrogen hypoxia. So, which one are you picking? It's like the all-you-can-die-for buffet. Mike, again, I appreciate you liking every episode. That makes my day. And thanks for the email. Man, how would I want to die if I were a murderer on death row? I feel like most of those are painful. And if I'm a murderer, I probably deserve that pain. But as a person, I don't want that pain. I think maybe lethal injection, that would almost feel like I'm about to go under a medical procedure that I just don't wake up from. So definitely that one. Some of these others, like firing squad and beheading, I can barely, like if I'm going to give myself a finger stick blood sugar test, I'm not diabetic, by the way, but I've done the finger stick thing. It runs in my family, so I check myself every so often. I could just barely click the little button that shoots the needle into the tip of my finger to get a drop of blood, because the anticipation of it just drives me crazy. So firing squad and beheading, I wouldn't be able to be still. And I do realize that I just connected capital punishment to checking your blood sugar. It's not the same, but still kind of torture, I think. Hey, if you're a new listener to the podcast, welcome in. Prop your feet up somewhere comfortable and binge the 500 or 600 back episodes you can binge away on. If you're an OG listener, I love you. Keep sharing this podcast with your friends and your family. You can go to 10minutemurder.com to learn all about the podcast, sign up for the newsletter, read the murder blog, all kinds of other things. And that's going to do it. That's your episode for today. Thank you again for listening to 10 Minute Murder. See you next time.